Y News. A group of Grab drivers takes defense against the complaints hurled at them. Labor groups prepare to launch a massive protest action against contractualization. And two Boracay Island residents file a petition before the Supreme Court to suspend Boracay closure.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News.
Good evening. The 6-month closure of Boracay begins tomorrow. Meanwhile, Agrarian Reform Secretary John Castro conducted an early inspection on the island today. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Agrarian Reform Secretary John Castriones personally inspected Boracay Island aboard a chopper. UNTV News and Rescue has exclusively taken the videos of the said inspection. DAR says the island's area is more than 1,000 hectares and it has 600 hectares of declared agricultural land based on Proclamation No. 1064 issued in 2006. Castriones says structures built on the island can be considered illegal.
Ang nakita namin, puros mga illegal structures. We can say that these are illegal structures kasi nga, wala namang conversion order na nangyari.
Just recently, President Rodrigo Duterte announced he will distribute to farmers the land in the island. That's why he wants it fixed. Based on the initial inspection of DAR, the land has 15 hectares that can be distributed to beneficiaries. The Secretary says those who will receive lands are the indigenous people and farmers who are original residents of the island.
It would appear na meron pang mga area na immediately pwedeng ipatupad kaagad yung land reform.
The DILG says it can file charges against local executives who will issue building permits to the establishments. The DNR can also order the demolition of illegal structures, so the land where these structures stand can be distributed. DAR's land verification is still ongoing, and it also creating a task force that would continue to validate the remaining agricultural land. Meanwhile, local officials of Boracay stand firm that the island will shut down beginning 12 midnight tonight, even without a formal order. With this, only residents and workers with identification cards and terminal passes are allowed to purchase boat tickets and enter the island. Many tourists and visitors have already evacuated and self-demolished the structures. Concerned agencies are expected to work on the rehabilitation of the island tomorrow. The DPWH will begin the road widening while the DNR will conduct a cleanup drive. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Two Boracay residents have asked the Supreme Court to stop the closure of the island, which will begin tomorrow. The petitioners say the closure of Boracay violates the rights of tourists, workers, and its residents. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Save Boracay! No closure! Defend livelihood! No closure!
Two workers in Boracay filed a petition to the Supreme Court seeking to temporarily suspend the closure of the island, which is due to begin tomorrow. The petitioners were assisted by the National Union of People's Lawyers, or NUPL, President Rodrigo Duterte, Executive Secretary Salvador Medaldea, and DILG Officer in Charge Eduardo Año are the respondents in the said petition.
We are requesting that a status quo ante-order be issued in order to restore the condition prior to the closure.
They argue that the closure of Boracay violates one's right to travel and even the rights of residents to freely enter and exit the island. They explain the island can be shut down only when there is national security and public safety or health threat, further arguing that rehabilitation is not a sufficient reason to do so. They add that there should be an existing law that would allow the island's closure. The move, they note, also violates the rights of Boracay workers since they will lose jobs.
Sa Boracay naman, pagdating ng Mayo 1, ironically, mawawalan ng trabaho ang 36,000 na mga manggagawa.
It violates the right to due process of all those persons who are earning a living in Boracay Island.
The NUPL is confident that the High Tribunal will rule in favor of the petition. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Labor group leaders reject Malacanang's invitation to join the Labor Day celebration in Cebu. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The labor groups have repeatedly played President Rodrigo Duterte's 2017 speech, where he vowed to end the country's problem with Endo. They claim that the president broke his promise and only gave false hopes to the thousands of workers in the country. For this reason, workers from different labor organizations are set to launch massive protest rally on May 1, Labor Day. This will be led by Kilusang Mayo Uno, Nagkaisa Coalition and Alliance of Labor Unions Trade Union Congress of the Philippines. The protest aims to convey to the government their disappointment over the continuous contractualization scheme in the country and the president's failure to sign an executive order to finally end the said scheme.
Hindi naman lingid sa amin na ang EO ay hindi mismong batas. Pero ito yung sinasabi naming tone setting at nagbibigay signal sa Kongreso, partikular sa Senado, kung ano ang magiging tono ng naturang executive order.
The workers demand that the employer should just directly hire applicants and not through employment agencies. They also want to be ensured security of tenure in their employment. Meanwhile, the labor group leaders declined the invitation of the government to join the Labor Day celebration to be held in Cebu.
Sinasabi ni Ari Roque, walang backlash. Bakit biglang tumakbo sila sa Cebu para mag-celebrate? Dahil takot sila. Alam nila, magmamarcha ang halos 60 to 80,000 na manggagawa sa Malacanang para singilin sila. Yun, nagtago sila sa Cebu.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A former government official wants the intercepted smuggled products to be sent back to the country of origin. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The government successively intercepted smuggled products in the past weeks. Most of them are agricultural products like rice and onions, which worth hundreds of millions of pesos. Former DTI Undersecretary Vic Dimagiba says undocumented products should be sent back to their country of origin to avoid the long process of confiscating them. He adds that it will also prevent corruption.
For as long as it stays there, yung mga operators, quote-unquote dyan, mapasok na yan dyan. Boss, gawan natin para mailalabas natin yan.
The Bureau of Customs, however, says there is no such provision in the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines and even in the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. No one will also shoulder the cost of sending it back. But once the smuggled products lands in the country, smugglers will be prosecuted.
Pag nakita natin na may ibang laman, mas maganda po yung kasi po-prosecute natin sila.
Former DAR Secretary Rafael Mariano, on the other hand, believes that smuggled products affect the livelihood of the local farmers.
Pag bumagsak ang presyo ng produkto ng ating mga magkasaka sa kanayunan, siyempre babagsak yung netong profit nila o kita.
Dimagiba insists that the government may use the pre-shipping inspection even from the country of origin like what they are doing now with cement products.
Dating mo dito, meron ka ng certificate. Kukuha ka na lang ng sample sa mga hardware to verify kung tama siya o hindi.
He adds that an agency like the Department of Agriculture may allocate buffer fund to solve the problem of insufficient supply of basic commodities based on the Price Act. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The National Food Authority in La Union launched this morning the Tulong ng Bayan project. This project intends to sell NFA rice for 39 pesos per kilo.
May mga commitment na sila sa La Union at pwede pang dagdagan pag naubos na yung ating initial na delivery. Sa ibang probinsya ay may mga nag-alok na 1,000 kaban bawat probinsya.
NFA Region 1 expects that the new supply of NFA rice will arrive in the following months. The Bureau of Customs will auction the smuggled rice seized in Zamboanga, Sibugay 30 days after the issuance of a warrant of seizure and detention. Grace Casin will tell us why.
The Philippine Navy and the Bureau of Customs, or BOC, began today the inventory of over 27,000 sacks of smuggled rice seized off waters of Zamboanga, Sibugay last April 14. According to BOC, the joint inventory could last another week. From MV Diamond 8, the vessel carrying the contraband, the Philippine Navy will transport the rice to Tangan Gymnasium, where it will be temporarily stored before the auction. The inventory also aims to find out what else is on board the vessel, which is registered at the Mongolia Maritime Administration.
So on the outset, nakita po natin bigas yan. And later on, nakakita tayo ng mga droga. Lahat po ng siguro naman sa atin dito ay galit sa ganyan. Then we can file charges against them for violation of our drug laws.
BOC of its part has issued a warrant of seizure and detention or WSD on the smuggled rice, since no claimant nor owner has surfaced. 30 days after the issuance of WSD, the shipment may be declared as abandoned. The rice may also be auctioned, and it is up to the government if it will purchase the smuggled rice.
We're also waiting for some claimants. Kung walang claimant ito, we will proceed to yung auction process na. Open sa lahat. Kung sinong interested, everybody is welcome.
Meanwhile, MV Diamond 8, which appears to be owned by Trumpway International Trading Limited, has sent attorney Florencio Leon Jr. as its representative to coordinate with the BOC. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A group of Grab drivers takes defense against a complaint hurled at them. Joan Nano tells us why.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, held a dialogue with some groups of Grab drivers earlier today. The meeting aimed to discuss the complaints raised against the services of Grab Philippines, such as ride cancellation, very long passenger pickup waiting time, and high-price rides. Grab drivers explained that they opt to cancel bookings of some passengers as they are made to wait longer at the pickup points. They add that there are even passengers who wish to be picked up at locations where their vehicles cannot enter.
Yung ibang riders kasi pag sinabi nilang nasan ka na kuya, how fast can you get here? Hindi po kami supermat at hindi namin alam ang kakalsadahan, yung mga traffic, lalong-lalo na dito sa Metro Manila. Yung mga lugar na pupuntahan, yung mga lugar na napakasikip at talagang very impossible na mapapadali ang pagpunta mo.
The group adds that there are also times when they are caught in heavy traffic, so it takes them longer minutes before arriving at the pickup points. The Grab drivers also asked the LTFRB to return the 2 peso per minute travel time charge. Based on data presented by a group of TNVS drivers, it turns out that a driver takes home only over 600 pesos after a 10-hour ride-hailing service, which results from oil price hikes and other operational expenses. Meanwhile, some Grab drivers oppose the masking destination feature being implemented by Grab PH because of the possible threats to their security.
For us, drivers, pinoprotektahan natin ang sarili natin, concerned tayo sa pamilya natin. And we would like to see kung saan yung pinaka-destination. Kasi ang pinaka-main natin dito is yung security ng bawat drivers natin.
Alam naman natin within Metro Manila, sir, there are a lot of areas na even you will not even feel safe to go there. Mas lalo pa kaya kung meron kang dala-dalang brand new na sasakyan. Alam na meron kang dalang pera.
The LTFRB for its part considered the Grab drivers' grievances.
We are appealing, let us start on a clean slate, treat each other more with respect, be more honest, wag nyo hong lokohin yung mga TNVS na pababa na kayo, yung pala nagme-make up pa. At yung mga TNVS naman, respetuhin nyo yung mga mananakay.
Grab PH is set to begin implementing the masking destination feature on Friday on 25% of its drivers with low acceptance rate records. This would mean that the drivers cannot see their passengers' destinations. This is to avoid incidents of cancellation of ride booking made by passengers. Joan Ano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
President Rodrigo Duterte appoints Jose Gabriel Lavinia as a new Department of Tourism Undersecretary. President Duterte signed Lavinia's appointment paper last April 24. Lavinia was previously removed from the Social Security System or SSS due to alleged corruption. Malacanang refused to give a statement on Lavinia's reappointment. Meanwhile, in his Facebook post, Lavinia thanked the president for his continued trust in him and for not believing the accusation of corruption hurled against him. Aside from the jeepney modernization program, the Department of Transportation or DOTR also pushes for the truck modernization program. According to the DOTR, there will be lesser fatal road crashes if trucks plying the roads use advanced safety technology. Meanwhile, DOTR Assistant Secretary Mark De Leon led the inspection of some modern truck units that use an active brake assist safety feature. Y News will be right back. I'm Darlene Basingan. Stay tuned for Angelo, Castro III. Good evening.
On Y News tonight, Senate to still push through with the impeachment trial against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, even if the higher court arrives at a decision on the quo warranto case against the chief magistrate. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency sets to release the list of barangay and sangguniang kabataan officials implicated on illegal drugs before the May 14 elections. The Bureau of Immigration cancels the missionary visa of Australian nun Patricia Fox and orders her to leave the country within 30 days. Good evening. The Bureau of Immigration has ordered 71-year-old Australian missionary Patricia Fox to leave the country. Grace Cassin will tell us why.
The Bureau of Immigration, or BI, has forfeited the missionary visa of Australian missionary Patricia Fox. She is given 30 days to leave the country upon the receipt of the Bureau's order. In a statement, Immigration Commissioner Jaime Morente said Fox was found out to have engaged in partisan political activities, which is not allowed under the Immigration Act of 1940. Immigration spokesperson Attorney Antoinette Mangrobang explained that Fox's deportation case is still pending before the Bureau of Immigration Special Prosecutor, as she has yet to file her counter-affidavit. The group that Fox is associated with condemns the order. According to Anak Pawi's Party List Representative Ariel Casilao, this is a threat against foreign citizens supporting the country's marginalized sectors, especially farmers and indigenous people. However, Senator Bam Aquino will file a resolution that seeks to investigate possible abuses in the deportation of foreign nationals from the country. But Senate President Coco Pimentel sees no problem in this deportation case.
Nasa power po ng Bureau of Immigration yon to arrest, detain, and then deport foreigners who violated or who have violated our domestic laws.
Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque stands by the BI's order to forfeit the Fox's visa, saying it went through proper process. Grace Cassin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Senate leadership is not yet setting aside the proposed bill to abolish the Sangguniang Kabataan. Senate President Aquilino Pimentel III says the outcome of the barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections will determine their next move on the matter.
Lalo na sa SK, tingnan natin ano yung response, ilan ang naging bakante dahil sa lack of candidates, then we will review the relevance of the positions that we held elections for.
The proposed SK abolition floated due to the claims that the elected officials in the said position have not been performing as expected of them. The consultative committee tasked to review the Constitution proposes the creation of a loan commission that will provide equalization fund for the poorest regions under the proposed shift to federal form of government. May Bermudez will tell us why.
If the country shifts to a federal form of government, the consultative committee wants to provide equal opportunities to every area in the country. It will be good for the poorest regions to have institutions they can run to for help, similar to how the Philippines can go to the IMF or World Bank for loans.
Lagyan na natin ng provision which will create an equalization fund to be administered by a loan commission and to be supported by all the federal states.
Funds will come from forced contribution or taxes from the federal states in the Philippines, national government, and any country or international body that wishes to help.
These national income taxes are actually also drawn from the various regions. Consolidate lang.
But a law is needed for its inclusion in the Constitution. Even in the creation of federated regions, where areas that will be formed will be based on territorial size, population, income, location, culture, and other considerations.
Mas malawak na yung pwedeng ibigay mo na autonomy powers. Hindi na gano'n na nakakahon. Yun ang magiging diferensya nun.
At present, the body has decided to place 17 regions under federalism. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Senate may still proceed with the impeachment trial even if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the quo warranto case against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
The fate of the impeachment proceedings against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno will still rely on the move of the lower house. According to Senate President Coco Pimentel, they need to convene as impeachment court once they receive the articles of impeachment, regardless of the Supreme Court's ruling on the quo warranto petition against the Chief Magistrate.
Let us see whether the House will accept the decision of the Supreme Court and of course the people.
According to the Senate President, if the decision on the quo warranto petition was released during the impeachment trial, in the event that the SC decides on the quo warranto in the middle of the impeachment trial, Pimentel said the senators would have to agree on whether to recognize the court's decision or not.
If the majority says na okay, it was a valid removal, there's no more need to remove kasi impeachment is removal eh. But if we believe that it's invalid, the majority says it's invalid, then we will, if from our point of view, there is still someone to remove. Therefore, tuloy namin ang impeachment.
Due to this possible scenario, Senator Pimentel said it is inevitable that the issue on constitutional crisis may arise because of the possible clash between the Senate Impeachment Court and the Supreme Court.
The Senate as Impeachment Court says it's not a valid termination. Di nakahanap ng kakampi si CJ, hindi ba? Therefore magre-report pa rin sa opisina yon, hindi ba? Then we have a crisis.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
When the Senate resumes on May 15, it will look into a number of priority bills. Senate President Coco Pimentel says among their priorities are Package 2 of the government's tax reform bill and the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. Pimentel adds BBL is among the bills they will try to pass during the session days in May.
Ang Train 2, most likely after after SONA na yon, yung Train 2. Yung BBL, we will still give it a try.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA is set to reveal the names of barangay officials under President Duterte's narco-list. Monokson will tell us why.
Malacanang has ordered the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA to reveal the names of the barangay officials included in the narco-list of President Rodrigo Duterte. Included in the validated list are 211 barangay officials in different parts of the country. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino says the total number almost reached 300, but some either already died or have already been arrested. Aquino will discuss with Interior and Local Government OIC Eduardo Año the guidelines on disclosing the list. Officials are classified into 3, but topping the list are illegal drug protectors, followed by drug pushers and drug users. Aside from the 211 barangay officials, 93 more, which include congressmen, mayors, vice mayors, and others were in the list.
Kaya nga dumarami ang drug laboratories natin. Why? Kasi itong mga ibang barangay officials saka mga mayor, sinasadya nilang itayo yung mga drug lab dyan.
PDEA calls on registered voters to not elect officials included in the list.
Kami naman nasa law enforcement agencies, paano namin makiklear ang isang barangay kung adik yung isang barangay captain, kung yung kanyang makagawad ay mga pusher, at lahat ng mga protector.
The PDEA says they are ready to counter any attacks from human rights advocate. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA acquires new firearms to strengthen its capability in conducting anti-drug operations in the country. PDEA's acquisition includes over 500 Galil rifles, bulletproof vests worth 32 million pesos, and IT equipment amounting to over 9 million pesos. This year alone, PDEA has spent over 90 million pesos in order to strengthen its forces in the anti-illegal drugs campaign. The PNP Counterintelligence Task Force personnel arrested 2 policemen in Pasay City. Lea Ilagan will tell us why.
Since March this year, the PNP Counterintelligence Task Force has been receiving complaints against 2 policemen identified as PO2 Jerry Adjanu Hubail and PO1 Michael Mindeville. They were reported for extorting money from the drivers who have been illegally occupying a space in Pasay City and used it as bus and UV terminal. This prompted the CITF to carry out entrapment operation and caught the two cops in action.
Sasakupan nila itong terminal. So they have the influence and jurisdiction. So we also received some reports na in fact yung mga kolorong buses iniskortan pa nila palabas.
CITF Commander Police Senior Superintendent Chiquito Malayo discloses that the two netted 5,000 pesos in a day for extorting 300 to 500 pesos from the drivers.
The chipping fee is very clear in this mandate na i-enhance yung internal cleansing natin down to the lowest levels.
To date, 71 rogue policemen have been arrested since the CITF was established in January 2017. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue Krame.
Michael Matthews wins the Tour de Romandie Prologue. Meanwhile, David Goffin advances to the third round of the 2018 Barcelona Open. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
In tennis, David Goffin recovered from a set, saved the match point, and went to beat Marcel Granollers 4-6, 7-6, 2, 6-2 on Tuesday at the Barcelona Open. The Belgian was on the point of going out at 4-6, 1-5 down in the second round to Barcelona-born Granollers' star before staging a fine comeback. Goffin will meet either Argentina's Leonardo Mayer or 16th seed Karen Khachanov in the third round. Meanwhile, Monte Carlo Masters runner-up Kei Nishikori of Japan said he was looking forward to playing in Barcelona, where he was champion in 2014 and 2015, despite this year's strong field. And in cycling, Australian Michael Matthews took the prologue of the Tour de Romandie in Switzerland on Tuesday, finishing narrowly ahead of local favorite Tom Bolley and Slovenia's Primož Roglic. Matthews finished the 4-kilometer time trial in Freiburg in 5 minutes, 33 seconds. Defending champion Richie Porte finished 14 seconds behind the leader in 18th place. Bolley set his time early in the day, but was denied the biggest win of his career when Matthews pipped him on the line. Wednesday's first stage will take the riders 166 kilometers from Freiburg to Delamont, and the event ends in Geneva on Sunday. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
Up next on Y News. The 32nd ASEAN Summit begins tomorrow. The suspect in the Toronto van attack is now charged with 10 counts of murder and 13 counts of attempted murder. Stay tuned for William Thio. I'm Angelo Castro III. Good evening.
Good evening. Southeast Asian leaders will gather in Singapore beginning tomorrow. Myla Guevara is in Singapore to tell us why live. Yes, good evening, Myla.
Yes, Will. Regional leaders will gather tomorrow till Saturday for the 32nd Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit, which will be chaired by Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. During 3-day event, the Southeast Asian leaders are expected to discuss ASEAN's priorities, the challenges and opportunities that it faces in line with the focus on strengthening ASEAN's resilience and innovation this year. ASEAN leaders will also focus on trade wars, the crisis in Myanmar, and security tensions in the disputed South China Sea. One of the first to arrive in Singapore is Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Van Phuc. Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, on the other hand, will not attend the summit as it coincides with his country's elections, with nomination day on Saturday. Meanwhile, President Duterte is expected to arrive in Singapore tomorrow and is scheduled to meet the Filipino community in Singapore on Saturday, which will be held at Big Box Mall. It is expected that there will be around 6,000 Filipinos who will attend.
they say that 80% of the OFWs voted for the president. And also when he came in December of 2016, his first visit, the response was overwhelming, and they had a PhilCom at that time, and everybody was very excited about it. And so we expect that, we know that the president still enjoys a very, very high support and from the trust from the OFWs here in Singapore.
There are about 180,000 Filipinos in Singapore. 60% of them are professionals and skilled workers, while 40% are domestic household workers. Singapore is one of the biggest sources of OFW remittances. The Philippines receive about 1.75 billion remittances from Singapore every year. Back to you, Will.
Thank you very much, Myla Guevara, live from Singapore. Meanwhile, the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, held a dialogue with some groups of Grab drivers earlier today. In the said meeting, the board discussed with the drivers some of the complaints raised against the services of Grab Philippines, such as ride cancellation, very long passenger pickup waiting time, and high-priced rides. In defense, the Grab drivers explained that they opt to cancel bookings of some passengers as they are made to wait longer at the pickup points. They add that there are even passengers who wish to be picked up at locations where their vehicles cannot enter.
Yung ibang riders kasi pag sinabi nilang nasan ka na kuya, how fast can you get here? Hindi po kami superman at hindi namin alam ang kakalsadahan, yung mga traffic, lalong-lalo na dito sa Metro Manila. Yung mga lugar na pupuntahan, yung mga lugar na napakasikip at talagang very impossible na mapapadali ang pagpunta mo.
The group adds that there are also times when they are caught in heavy traffic, so it takes them longer minutes before arriving at pickup points. The Grab drivers also asked the LTFRB to return the 2 peso per minute travel time charge.
For us, drivers, pinoprotektahan natin ang sarili natin, concerned tayo sa pamilya natin, and we would like to see yung kung saan yung pinaka-destination. Kasi ang pinaka-main natin dito is yung security ng bawat drivers natin.
We are appealing, let us start on a clean slate, treat each other more with respect, be more honest, wag nyo hong lokohin yung mga TNVS na pababa na kayo, yung pala nagme-make up pa. At yung mga TNVS naman, respetuhin nyo yung mga mananakay.
Labor groups gathered today and repeatedly played President Rodrigo Duterte's 2017 speech, where he vowed to end the country's problem with Angelo. They claim that the president broke his promise and only gave false hopes to thousands of workers in the country. For this reason, workers from different labor organizations are set to launch massive protest rallies on May 1st, Labor Day. The protest aims to convey to the government their disappointment over the continuous contractualization scheme in the country and the president's failure to sign an executive order to finally end the said scheme.
Hindi naman lingid sa amin na ang EO ay hindi mismong batas. Pero ito yung sinasabi naming tone setting. At magbibigay signal sa Kongreso, partikular sa Senado, kung ano ang magiging tono ng naturang executive order.
Meanwhile, the labor group leaders declined the invitation of the government to join the Labor Day celebration to be held in Cebu.
Sinasabi ni Ari Roque, walang backlash. Bakit biglang tumakbo sila sa Cebu para mag-celebrate? Dahil takot sila. Alam nila, magmamarcha ang halos 60 to 80,000 na manggagawa sa Malacanang para singilin sila. Yun, nagtago sila sa Cebu.
2 workers in Boracay filed a petition to the Supreme Court seeking to temporarily suspend the closure of the island, which is due to begin tomorrow. President Rodrigo Duterte, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, and DILG Officer in Charge Eduardo Año are the respondents in the said petition. They argue that the closure of Boracay violates one's rights to travel and even the rights of residents to freely enter and exit the island. They explain the island can be shut down only when there is national security and public safety or health threats.
We are requesting that the status quo ante-order be issued in order to restore the condition prior to the closure.
The NUPL is confident that the High Tribunal will rule in favor of the petition. The fate of the impeachment proceedings against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno will still rely on the move of the lower house. According to Senate President Coco Pimentel, they need to convene as impeachment court once they receive the articles of impeachment, regardless of the Supreme Court's ruling on the quo warranto petition against the Chief Magistrate.
Let us see whether the House will accept the decision of the Supreme Court and of course the people.
In the event that the SC decides on the quo warranto in the middle of the impeachment trial, Pimentel said the senators would have to agree on whether to recognize the court's decision or not.
If the majority says na okay, it was a valid removal, there's no more need to remove kasi impeachment is removal eh. But if we believe that it's invalid, the majority says it's invalid, then we will, from our point of view, there is still someone to remove. Therefore, tuloy namin ang impeachment.
In other news, the Bureau of Immigration, or BI, has forfeited the missionary visa of Australian missionary Patricia Fox. She is given 30 days to leave the country upon receipt of the Bureau's order. In a statement, Immigration Commissioner Jaime Morente said Fox was found to have engaged in partisan political activities, which is not allowed under the Immigration Act of 1940. Immigration spokesperson Attorney Antoinette Bucasas Mamborang explained that Fox's deportation case is still pending before the Bureau of Immigration Special Prosecutor, as she has yet to file her counter affidavit. The group that Fox is associated with condemns the said order. Meanwhile, Malacanang has ordered the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, to reveal the names of the barangay officials included in the narco-list of President Rodrigo Duterte. Included in the validated list are 211 barangay officials in different parts of the country. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino says the total number is almost reached 300, but some have either died or already have been arrested. Aside from the 211 barangay officials, 93 more, which include congressmen, mayors, vice mayors, and others, were still on the list.
Kaya nga dumarami ang drug laboratories natin. Why? Kasi itong mga ibang barangay officials saka mga mayor, sinasadya nilang itayo yung mga drug lab dyan eh.
PDEA calls on registered voters to not elect officials included in the list. And for the news abroad, here's Noel Poliarco live from Toronto, Canada. Good morning, Noel.
Good morning, William. A rally was held today in South Korea days before the first ever Inter-Korean Summit in a decade. Eric Ferrer tells us why.
South Korean activists held a rally in central Seoul on Wednesday to welcome the Inter-Korean Summit this week. Dozens of civic group members danced and chanted slogans, while some protesters were seen wearing masks of South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. A civic group leader said they were pleased to hear that the summit agenda included the official end to the state of war that has technically lasted since the 1950s Korean War ended with an armistice, not a treaty.
문재인 대통령께서 남북 정상회담을 하시고 그 의제가 정전 체제를 평화 체제로 바꾸고 종전 선언을 한다는 것에 대해서 너무나 기뻤고 그 기쁜 마음을 표현할 길이 없어서 이렇게 광화문에 모이게 되었습니다.
Across the street, 6 protesters held an anti-summit rally to denounce the upcoming meeting, which they claimed to be a meaningless negotiation. The protest leader said they do not believe that North Korea would denuclearize.
이번에 그 김정은이가 남북 회담을 통해서 비핵화를 하겠다, 또 풍계리를 폐쇄시키겠다 하지만 저희들은 그걸 믿을 수가 없고요. 역시 남북 회담을 한다 해도 이것이 과연 제대로 할 것인지 믿을 수가 없기 때문에 그 회담에 대해서도 저희들은 굉장히 부정적으로 생각하고 있습니다.
Moon and Kim will sit down at the Panmunjom on Friday to discuss a range of issues including North Korea's nuclear weapons program. North Korea said on Saturday it would immediately suspend nuclear and missile tests, scrap its nuclear test sites, and instead pursue economic growth and peace. Eric Ferrer, UNTV News and Rescue, South Korea.
In other news, Journalism NGO Reporters Without Borders, or RSF, has released on Wednesday its annual Press Freedom Index. Norway remained at the top of the ranking while North Korea stayed at the bottom. In an interview with Reuters, the RSF says political leaders who undermine the work of journalists are damaging democracy.
Le principal enseignement de ce classement, c'est l'effet très pervers sur la liberté de la presse de la haine contre les journalistes. Il y a une libération de cette haine, et notamment du fait des propos des dirigeants politiques eux-mêmes.
Deloitte cited the Philippines, India, and the United States as countries where political leaders are picking on journalists, if not insulting them and harming the democratic system. RSF also said the situation was worsening in Europe, which has seen the biggest drop in press freedom in the last year. Meanwhile, thousands of people gathered at the war memorial services across Australia and New Zealand on Wednesday. Nina Bascon will tell us why.
Thousands of people attended the war memorial services on Wednesday across Australia, New Zealand, Turkey, France, and Thailand to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the doomed World War I campaign at Gallipoli, Turkey. The day marks the landing of thousands of troops from the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, or Anzac, on the Gallipoli Peninsula in Turkey on April 25, 1915. In Australia, over 35,000 people gathered before dawn at the Australian War Memorial in Canberra on Wednesday morning for a service. Thousands also lined the streets of Sydney to watch the annual March of Veterans and present-day service personnel.
Like most Australians today, I have no faded photographs of men or women in uniform on my mantelpiece. And I know of no family members who served on the beaches of Gallipoli, the muddy fields of the Somme, or indeed the jungles of Southeast Asia. And yet, like all of us, I benefit from what they have done.
In New Zealand, thousands of people also attended dawn services and military marches across the country.
The medals are from Isabella's great-grandfather, who served in the First World War, and he was a member of the Wellington Mounted Rifles.
It's Anzac Day. That's what we do. We're Kiwis. Commemoration for the fallen soldiers.
In Turkey, a dawn service was also held to commemorate the 103rd anniversary of the Anzac Day. It was attended by Australian and New Zealand military personnel as well as government officials.
It is humbling to stand among our New Zealand and Turkish friends and reflect on the service and sacrifice of the tens of thousands of people on both sides of the campaign who lost their lives.
The battle at Gallipoli claimed more than 130,000 lives, 87,000 of them from the Ottoman side. Anzac Day is now a day that remembers all Australians and New Zealanders who served and died in all wars and conflicts. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Melbourne, Australia.
At least 15 people were killed and 40 others were injured after a fire broke out at an oil well in the northwestern province of Aceh in Indonesia on Wednesday. Videos posted on social media showed flames towered over houses as villagers looked on. Authorities said the fire broke out early on Wednesday after a well of depth 250 meters overflowed and residents gathered to collect the oil. Local authorities reported dozens of people were taken to hospital in Banda Aceh, several hours away, adding that state oil firm Pertamina was providing equipment to help fight the fire. The head of police in East Aceh said the oil well might have been drilled in illegally and the fire might have been started when someone was smoking a cigarette. Canadian police continues to investigate the deadly attack in Toronto last Monday that killed 10 people. Kim Pamintuan tells us why.
The man accused of driving a van into pedestrians in Toronto, Canada, was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder and 13 counts of attempted murder on Tuesday. The 25-year-old suspect, Alec Minashan, plowed a rented van into pedestrians on a crowded Toronto sidewalk on Monday, killing 10 people and injuring 15 others in Canada's deadliest mass killing in decades. Minashan made a brief court appearance in a Toronto courtroom on Tuesday to hear the charges against him. The Toronto police said the suspect had no previous criminal record. Minutes before the attack began, a post was made to Minashan's now deleted social media page that read in part, "The incel rebellion has already begun." The term incels refers to a group of men's rights activists who are involuntarily celibate and who also commiserate together about their lack of sexual activity. The post also praised Elliot Roger, a self-confessed virgin who killed 6 people before killing himself near the campus of a university in California in 2014. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said the incident had not changed the country's threat level or security preparations for a G7 summit in Quebec in June. Trudeau said it would take time before the motives of the attacker were understood, but that all Canadians stood with Toronto in the wake of the attack.
At this time, we have no reason to suspect that there is any national security element to this attack, but obviously the investigations continue.
Canadian police continues to investigate the deadly attack as the motive behind the incident remains unclear. Kim Pamintuan, UNTV News and Rescue, Toronto, Canada.
And that's the latest from around the world. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Noel Poliarco, live from Toronto, Canada. And those are the reasons behind the news, April 25, 2018. I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching Why News.